Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there are just 33 days until Christmas 2022. Oh my goodness. We are in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch for Christmas. You know, Thanksgiving is just coming up in a couple of days here in the United States. I know those of you in other countries, Canada, for example, your Thanksgiving happens on a different day. But our Thanksgiving happens this Thursday, and we will be with family, enjoying a little time together. And as many of you know, this year's been a bit of a trying time for my family, with my dad going through a major car accident. And he was hit by a car. He wasn't in a car. He was actually hit by a car and spent 2 months in the hospital. And yesterday, we went to the sentencing hearing for him, and so that chapter is now closed. We still have some other things going on as it relates to Dad's accident, but you know what? This Thursday, we're going to get to celebrate as a family and be thankful that we still have my dad, our father, grandfather, to our kids, great-grandfather, in at least one instance, that will be able to be with us. And that very well could have gone a very different way back on August 8th. So appreciate all of you guys being here. You all mean the world to me. And my friend Jason is sick. So yesterday, if you were over on makingstarwars.net, you would see that Jason was under the weather, and told him to get some cold medicine, get some rest. Haven't heard from Jason today, but we sent out the invite. Jason may join us during the live stream. And my very, very good friend, Star Wars Megan, is busy. She said she will try to jump in as quickly as she can. She may be late. She may not make it. We'll see. We'll see. And I see Nerd Mafia with us in the chat. Tomorrow night, Nerd Mafia is hosting a live stream with a couple of very special guests, and I will do my best to be there, my friend. I will do my best to be there. Thank you all very, very much. I saw the community. Good to see you again. I've been. I know we had a little bit of a dust up on this channel. Some things happened, and you stepped away. It's good to see you here. Good to see you. Abby, as always, thank you so much. Daniel Fisher and Jedi Mike, one of the Nerd Vengers. Good to see you, Jedi Mike. Dawn, and I saw some other folks. Mike Yaney, good to see you. And Kay, of course, Kay is in the running to make the season leaderboard, which will gift her some Star Wars Santa merch. She is this close. She's actually made it onto the leaderboard this last week. Just need to hang on one more week, Kay. You'll be there. We can get you some Star Wars merch, Star Wars Santa merch. I'm hoping to. I'm rooting for you. I'm actually would love to be able to send some merch out to some of our friends. My friend Adam from Adam Douglas at Fanjecture is in the chat, and I've got an article that I got from Adam's Discord server that I think is quite illuminating, as I put on Adam's Discord this morning. I thought it was good. Planet Fitness, the last Andor Eve, indeed. It's the last one for season 1 in any event, right? So thank you all for being here. The chat is set to only subscribers. If you've not subscribed to the channel, hey, Nikki, it is so good to see you here. Please hang out for a little while. It'll be great to see you in the chat. We've got, what was I saying? I forget. I got so excited to see Nikki in the chat. I completely forgot what I was talking about. I absolutely love Nikki, a great friend. And you guys know, as I mentioned, it's been a really, really tough year. Oh, I know. I was talking about Adam Douglas, Fanjecture. But Nikki, amongst others, have been there for me personally, texting me, contacting me, calling me in some cases, just to make sure I'm okay. And look, you guys, I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. And here's hoping that 2023 takes a little different turn. Matt Risman, good to see you as well, my friend. Let's get into some of the discussion. So I stopped into the replay. You know, all you West Coast folks, you put your videos up way too late for Santa. Santa's trying to sleep, and these things happen like in the middle of the night. Hey, there's Dale. Good to see you, Dale. You guys post your videos too late. And X-Wing and Matt Risman, I love their weekend show. Matt brings some sanity to the discussion. X-Wing is a good friend. He's a great guy. And, you know, every now and then we get into discussions, and I've got a thing here on my channel where I like to keep the content about the content. And I'm convinced that this fandom, Star Wars fandom, will heal, good content will heal all ails, right? Everything that this fandom complains about, fights about, gets in little dust-ups about, all spur from different people enjoying or not enjoying, in some cases, Star Wars content. And I think if we get some great Star Wars content, that we'll all be friends. We'll all be friends. And I think for the most part, we are friends. And I know sometimes people get their feathers ruffled, and things are said in the heat of discussion that get people upset. And it really bothers me. I know I text or I sent some messages to Nikki a couple of weeks ago. I couldn't sleep like over the whole weekend because I was really worried about her. I was really worried about Nikki. Nikki's a wonderful friend, and it was bothering me. It was really bothering me, and that's just something I deal with. And she assured me we're okay. We're fine. Nikki and I, we're very good friends. And so even though things happen from time to time where, as fans, we kind of jab at each other, and we may get mad. We may have to, kind of step out of the room a little bit and cool down. That's okay. That's okay. If we get good Star Wars content, then I think all will be healed. Nerd Mafia, thank you so much. If Mrs. Claus gets mad, just tell her I took you hostage. I will do that. I don't know how much anyone would believe that an airman could take anybody hostage. I mean, they're just Air Force guys anyway. I don't know. I kid. Also, I know we got a friend, our Michigan fan, Dominic's been in the chat. We've got a big football game coming up this weekend, and it's going to be fantastic, except Santa's going to be being Santa. I'm going to be at the Rural King. And if you guys haven't heard of Rural King, it's where you get like farm stuff. And they give you free popcorn when you go in there. It's great. But Rural King's like a Walmart for farmers. They've got clothes and food and all kinds of stuff in there. But I'll be Santa Claus at Rural King in Mount Vernon, Ohio this weekend. My friend Sheev the Wise, or Sheev the Shrub, or Shrub the Wise. He's got this fascinated with shrubs lately. Sheev's here. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Love Sheev, and hopefully get to spend some time with him very soon. Hey, Salty Texas Ranger. Good to see you. And Quentin, wonderful content creator. Love Quentin as well. So you guys, thanks for being here. Good to talk with you. I'm falling behind. Rural King, I would go for the free popcorn. It's absolutely worth it. No, not farmersonly.com. No. Different place, Adam. Different place. Let's see if I can catch up here. Yeah. It's good to see you, Dawn. Thank you for that. And Dawn, are you going to make it down to Cincinnati? Let me know. I'll get you on the reservation list for to sit at my table. All the cool stuff. David Tree. If you're in London and you're in England, or even if you're anywhere in Europe, like my friends here who are in Scotland and places like that, if you should need a Star Wars collectible or My Little Pony, whatever it is, you should go check out all the cool stuff. David Tree is a fantastic dude. He does a podcast with our friend Martin Keeler that is hilarious. They do a great job. He's got a great sense of humor. In fact, he intimidates me a little bit because his sense of humor is so quick. I can't keep up. But you guys check out all the cool stuff. Baymax in the chat, kind of stirring the pot. So there's some controversial news. So this is where I was kind of going with this, is that there's some things going on that sometimes take us out of talking about the content, and we have to talk about kind of the infrastructure going on around Star Wars, Lucasfilm, Disney, because all the things that affect those leadership levels impact the content. As I mentioned, that if we get good content, then everybody be happy, right? And you know what? There are people who are absolutely loving Andor. Said this is the Star Wars we've been waiting for. There are other people who are like, oh, I don't know, that I know, Yachty, I see you. Some people say, no, that Andor thing's not for me. But if you love it, good for you. I hope you have a great time. And that's a great attitude to have. Not all things are going to be everything to everyone, but I think here we go. We've got what many think is a fantastic series in Andor, and that's going to be followed up with lots of other things. And let me get into this Hollywood Reporter article that Adam posted on his on his Discord. And Yachty, I know I'm waiting for me to go to my public mailbox. I do have a public mailbox. You can find the address for that on my YouTube channel and in Discord and Patreon. And Yachty sent me something, and I've yet to make it there during the day. I'm planning to go. I was hoping to go over the weekend. Didn't make it there during their operating hours. I was going to go yesterday, and then we got hung up. So today, hopefully today is the day. Hopefully today is the day. I'll get it. I'll get it this week. Promise, Yachty. I will get it this week. So there's this article, and I think a lot of us, we fall into the same trap. We're armchair quarterbacks. It's a sports ball analogy. We're armchair quarterbacks. We're like, oh, why didn't they run it on that play? Oh, that run was a terrible decision. Why didn't they pass it? I would have passed. If I was the coach, I would have got rid of this guy, or I would have hired that guy, right? So it's easy to armchair quarterback from your home and come up with how you would do things and with how things should be run. Hey, Star Wars Obsessions made it. So we do have this article. I thought it was really enlightening to see like how this, Nikki, you are a professional armchair quarterback. On the armchair quarterback mount, what is that? I was going to make a funny joke and then I forgot the name. Nikki would be in the top 5. She'd be on the preserved for all of history as armchair quarterback. But I thought this article gave us a lot of great insight to actually what happened. A lot of us can theorize about things. Yes, she is the Tom Brady of armchair quarterbacks. There you go. Sheaf, you put that very well. She is the legend the Jedi would not tell you about. In here, let's kind of look at this article, and the link to this article is in the description here, as well as you can find it on Fanjecture's Discord. If you've not joined Fanjecture's Discord, what are you doing with your life? Adam is a great source of entertainment stuff. he knows what he knows his stuff. Unless you're talking about, of course, actors who aren't alive anymore, then sometimes he gets confused. Right? There are times where Adam's like, well, what has Christopher Lee done lately? I think his career has kind of waned lately. Christopher Lee, what's he doing? What? And if you missed that, shame on you. You have to ask Adam about that. Yeah. Salty Texas Ranger. This was my point. We were having a debate and I was defending Christopher Lee, and Adam came hot on him like, well, what's Christopher Lee done lately? I said, well, he's dead. So I will never let that go. You know what, Adam, if you're available, I would love to have you come in and talk about this with me right now. If you're available, I will. I know you may be at work, you may be busy, so it may not be a good time for you. But if you are available, I would love to get you in to talk about this article because your insight, I think, is a tremendous, and I miss getting to talk to you anyway. So let me share the. I can at about 5 to 7. Okay, well, I will send you the link here, Adam, and let me send this in a DM here. And nope, not there. I almost messed up. Let me see if I can message. There we go. That's the right place. All right. A wild Fanjecture appears. Exactly. All right. So a lot of us kind of fill in the blanks, and we armchair quarterback it. And we say, well, it's because Chapek did this, or he's mismanaged that, or whatever. This article I thought was fantastic because what's happened is a lot of speculation. Okay, so Chapek is gone. What might that mean to Lucasfilm? What might that mean to Kathy Kennedy? Will she be next? What's going on? I don't know. And so there's lots of discussion about that on all the channels. You can find all kinds of it. We were chatting in a DM, and Star Wars Meg said, you know what? Just put it in the search for Chapek and Iger, and you'll see plenty of content with everybody's take on it in the world. And I thought the Hollywood Reporter did a really good job of this article. And so I'll start reading this, and when Adam could join, we'll add him to the discussion. It says, while other directors were looking to fire Chapek as early as June, Chairman Susan Arnold was reluctant to pull the trigger. Now, even those cheering the move called Chapek's dismissal brutal. No statement, no comment, no grace. It's insane. Nikki, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. She's not going anywhere. And Kathleen staying. Iger is a fan of hers. Absolutely is. Hey, there's Jeremy. Good to see you, Jeremy. Astromech Jeremy. Good to see you here. Yeah, Doomcock begs to differ. I know. Oh, I like this comment. Like, a blind squirrel will eventually get a nut. It just keeps looking. If you keep posting like every week that Kathleen Kennedy is going to be fired within the next few days, eventually you're going to be right, or better yet, not fired. You should be posting a weekly video that says Kathleen Kennedy exiting Lucasfilm within the next few days, right? Something like that. And then you post that every week. Eventually you're going to be right. You can say, "See, I called it." No, it's it's dumb. It's dumb. Yeah, I got you, Nikki. I love you. Good. So here, let's take a look. It says the day after Disney shocked Hollywood by unceremoniously dispatching Bob Chapek. I love the writing. Sources with ties to the company said discontent among some board members has been building to the point there was a discussion about replacing Chapek paycheck as far back as the late June meeting in Florida. and then they kind of go through some things. At the time, the board wanted to replace Chapek and appoint one of their own. They wanted to appoint Nike chairman Mark Parker. Well, that didn't happen. Because he said, no thanks, I'm good. He declined, right? And then they tried a couple other folks, and they also said, yeah, nope, not interested. Just don't want that job. Don't want that job. And you got to think, this is something we all fall into a little bit of a trap, is we get narrow focused. Disney is much bigger than movies or TV shows or a streaming service, right? They're all of those things, but they're also an amusement park company, a theme park company that in multiple continents, different countries. They've got theme parks around the world. So there's a big enterprise there that falls underneath Disney umbrella that goes all the way from amusement park attractions to the streaming series, movies, live action, animated, CG, the whole works, right? The whole gamut. And even just within, say, one of their subsidiary companies, Fox, Lucasfilm, Marvel, all of those have different businesses within them. And the CEO, the chairman of Disney, it has to manage that entire umbrella of things. So you're not taking somebody who is like a creative and putting them in to be ahead of something like that. You're going to take somebody who is a masterful business CEO type and put them in something like that. That's why they mentioned Nike chairman or somebody like that. So it's got to be a different kind of person. But our question is, what might Chapek being replaced again with Iger impact to Lucasfilm? Let's keep going into the article to see if we get any more clarity on what this is, right? It says Chapek already piled up a set of widely derided moves. So here's some of the list. Aside from the much hashed over public conflict over Scarlett Johansson's compensation, this was one. If you guys remember, Scarlett Johansson was none too happy about a certain thing that happened some time ago. Right? She made a big stink of it. She sued the company and said, hey, this is not what I signed up for. And so that ended up being a little bit of a stain on his record. Then he had the whole deal with the Florida law that went back and forth. And look, I don't care where you are on this politically. There's way you have to manage political things when you're in these kind of positions that you have to navigate. And he was wanting to move a bunch of people from the West Coast, the left coast, as many of us on the right would say, right? You got to take he was wanting to take a bunch of employees from California and move them to Florida. And the folks, when this happened, the folks in California were like, oh, no, fam, I'm not about that. And in fact, many people in the Florida organization were like, I'm not good with this. He just mismanaged the messaging around this political hot potato, right? It's a hot potato, and he just stepped in it. He stepped in it the wrong way, and that didn't come over well. There's two pretty big events. And then another controversy when he had an abrupt and brutal firing of Peter Rice. Now, this seems to be one of the nails in his coffin. As you read the article, this deal with Peter Rice did not go over well at all with the board. And I want you guys to notice in this list, Lucasfilm doesn't come up. Profitability of Star Wars doesn't come up. None of this. The things that made the board angry were these list of things, right? Abrupt firing of Peter Rice. He was a well-regarded chairman of the entertainment programming. Chapek chose another negative news cycle when he was just getting his feet on the ground. So it's negative news cycle, negative news cycle, negative news cycle. Stock down, right? Because it's putting blemishes on the Disney company as a whole. and then investors put their money where they see positive things going on, not negative things. And they're like, "Ooh, that's not looking great over there. Let's put our money somewhere else." That's kind of what happened. Matt, he canceled the Imagineering move to Florida, but the damage had been done, right? Yeah, you're not wrong. But sources it says Susan Arnold was an advocate for Chapek. She sided with Chapek from the beginning, before Iger left. She tried to put Iger back in his box. At every turn, she said, "Let Chapek run the company," right? So she's just wanting to, let him go. You guys are holding him back. You guys are causing these problems. But nope, that didn't happen. In the aftermath of Rice's firing, Arnold released a supposedly unanimous statement of board confidence and support. So she said, "Hey, everybody loves him. He has our full, unfettered support. We're with this guy." But many in the industry noted that the board had yet to renew his contract. That means things behind the scenes may not have been going as we thought. Which was to expire in February 23. Industry executives rolled their eyes. You let the CEO get within a year of his contract being up. Again, that's instability. Instability is not something that people want to invest in. Stock, the people who are putting big money into stocks not going well. That by itself is a statement of non-support. A vote of confidence is nonsense, right? Put your money where your mouth is. And there's a statement that often goes, follow the money, right? Follow the money. That'll give you answers a lot of times, right? So in this case, following the money was an insight. When the board discussed Chapek's contract at the end of the month, some wanted to extend it for only 2 years. Arnold argued it would undercut Chapek too severely. A seeming compromise. Chapek's contract was extended for 3 years, but backdated, leaving a bit more than 2 years. So similar, like when I re-enlisted in the U.S. Army, so I enlisted in the U.S. Army for 4 years. But then I re-enlisted for 2 years. 4 plus 2 would be 6. Oh, hold on, my friends. I re-enlisted 6 months early. So it ended up being 5.5 years instead of 6. And so here we go. We've got Adam with us.
Hey.
Hello.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Oh, wait. There we go.
Okay. It's good to see you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I can't hear you. Give me 1 second.
Okay. So let's keep going. Queen Amidala called for a vote of non-confidence in Chancellor Chapek. That's hilarious. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, very good. So
how are you, friend?
My goodness, Adam, it's been way too long since we talked.
It has. It really has. I feel like almost last Christmas was the last time we might have talked.
It really was. And there I was basically visiting with your kids, not with you. Like you were just hanging out.
Right? Speaking of which, is Santa 3.0
Yes.
or 2.0 coming?
Yes, it is. We do have some virtual visit stuff happening. This time it's going to happen via Zoom. And we've got all of that set up. I will make sure that you get all the information on that.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And everyone else in the chat needs to, whether I don't care if you have kids or not. There's nothing better than hearing Santa read a Christmas story to you, even if you're 40 years old. I'm telling you.
You know what? Vanessa, our good friend Vanessa, hired me to do a virtual visit with her and her kids. Her kids are grown. They're grown men, bigger than Santa. These are very attractive young men, and they the three of them visited. 2 grown men and their mom visited with me, and it was wonderful. So yeah, you don't have to have little kids to visit with Santa.
No,
not a requirement at all. So what's your takeaway from this article?
Kathleen Kennedy's out of here. No, that is not what I took away from it. It's a madhouse. I think my overall takeaway is that finally, after 2 years, and I have no love lost for Chapek leaving, nor Kareem Daniels either. Finally, we are getting back to focusing on creatives, and that's only going to help everywhere. All right. There was such a hardcore mandate on pushing out content that it screwed everything up. Everything. And in all aspects of the company. It just started like crumbling. And it was going down, down, down. And people were, the worst part about it is that people were leaving the company. People you don't even know about. Not you, the general you.
Right.
Like, people were leaving the company on the creative side, which was affecting what we're watching, what we're seeing. And it really took, those kind of things you don't see take effect for a couple of years, and now we're in the bulk of it, right? So I'm glad there's a turnaround. We're not going to see an immediate thing. I know he's here for 2 years. We may not even see Disney get back to Disney of what we, enjoyed and loved for 4 years, 3 to 4 years probably, which is right around the time we're probably going to get a new Star Wars movie. So there you go.
Yeah, and so my takeaway from this article as well is that it was mismanaging the press cycles and the PR,
Sure,
and the internal management of the company itself. No, I didn't get anything in here saying that he greenlit the wrong projects, or he wasn't. He was holding things up or anything like that. It's just that he was not managing the PR side of managing the business through the pandemic.
right.
Granted, that was a difficult time for everybody.
Sure.
But he just stepped on things time and time again.
Well, here's the biggest thing, and where this is where the Kareem Daniels part comes in, which is, I think, going to hopefully help alleviate stuff. And I know this is Star Wars centric, so hopefully alleviate some pressure on Star Wars. Is that, so this guy Kareem Daniels, who you all have seen in the news recently that he got let go, he was put into a position which was newly created when he started, not when he started the company, but when Chapek came over. It was a department called Disney Media, Entertainment, and Distribution. They call DMED for short. And so this whole idea of DMED was the creatives create the product, and then that's it. They're done. They hand it off to DMED, and DMED decides where, when, and how. So, and that whole thing is going to get dismantled. The whole thing is going to get dismantled. I think previously Iger has, said in his book and publicly that he made mistakes with distribution, and he made mistakes with rushing things, and this was sort of an amalgamation of that in a way. I think Iger has a little bit of fault in the whole DMED area, not completely. He didn't create it, he didn't push it forward, but there was this sort of idea of pushing content out too far, and he admitted that with Star Wars, and he admitted that with MCU. So I think what's going to happen is it's going to scale back. It's going to be able to allow something like Star Wars, where I don't know about you. I know everyone is clamoring for, like, get us a movie now, right? But Santa, you and I are old enough to know what a time gap does for Star Wars fans, and a time gap for Star Wars fans gets us so frenzied that we look forward even more to what's coming out. So me personally, like, I'm fine with them, like, taking a break, take a step back. I don't need a movie right now. Or you know what I need? I need to clear some stuff out of my head. I need them to make a plan, and I'm hoping after all this, creative comes first. And now that does leave the Catholic, though, right? Because part of the problem is having that creative and business mix, which is the whole DMED thing. I think you're actually okay. One, Kathy's not leaving. Let's get that up.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Let's discuss. Let's understand what will happen, because she's not leaving. I do think that it's going to be status quo a little bit of what they have changed, which is Kathy giving more creative people in Lucasfilm more control over story and over creative. We've seen that with Andor, right? Fully
Yes.
creative driven. Tony Gilroy
Yes.
is shepherding that thing. You're seeing it with Dave and his stuff, right? Those are all
Right.
creative forward stuff. I think the idea of pushing out content, which is why I had made a bet with somebody a while ago that a giant, remember that giant list of like 10 to 12 things that was
Yes.
coming out. I said
Yep.
that wasn't going to happen. I officially made a bet with somebody that was not going to happen, because this was the issue that was being created under Cheap Pack, is announce, get all these things out. You know what? You're right. They've been like you said, the PR cycle. They've been announcing all these things, but you know why? Because the head top at Disney wants, give me a title. Give me, what do you got? What's next? What's this month? 2 months later, I need something else. 2 months later, I need something else. So you keep announcing stuff, but you can't keep up with the creative of all the things that you've announced.
Yeah. I want to follow up on something. I want to follow up with something you said just a minute ago about they had this thing. You make the thing, you turn it over, then they decide the when, how, where, right?
Right.
And I heard something, I can't remember who I heard it from, that these Disney Plus series from Marvel, Lucasfilm, so on, they're direct to TV shows, if you think about it, right? Like, there was a day where if a movie wasn't good enough, then they would just do it like direct to VHS or direct to DVD or direct to TV, right? They would just cut it out of going to the theaters because they knew we weren't going to recoup there, cut their losses and get it out, try to get a little bit of money back. The streaming services is a little bit different, but it's like they're not cutting losses that way. They're not like, oh, this movie's terrible, so let's release it to streaming. Right. They're actually building content for streaming, but at the end of the day, it's still direct to consumer, right? Yes. Direct to consumer, not going to the theaters. And the budget for direct to consumer content has traditionally been way different than direct to or to theatrical releases. And there's a narrative out there that Disney Plus is a loss leader. It's costing more for the content than it is for the subscriptions.
Yeah, and 1.5 billion. I think it said it was down.
Yeah, if you continue budgeting direct to consumer in the same scale as theatrical, then that's a good point. Like, maybe you should be thinking about the release. Is this direct to consumer? Then the budget's going to be capped at whatever, right? If it's going to be theatrical release, maybe the cap is quite a bit higher, right?
Sure. I think, it's going to be weird where they start adjusting money. I really did enjoy the little Grogu 3-minute short.
Yeah.
But that was nice. They seem to be, so it's weird, right? I think we're going to see a lot more of that kind of stuff, especially in Star Wars, because me personally, I think Star Wars lends itself really well for animation of all styles. I think the storytelling is so large and grand scale that, to be honest, I think Star Wars actually works better as animation than it does live action.
and like you said, I'm used to having a decade or more between movie series, right? Like, that's the way it was. We got the original trilogy, you had to wait a hot minute to get the prequels, and the excitement going into the Phantom Menace. I remember when the marketing for that was coming out, there was something like, if you're going to go see one movie this summer, go see that. If you're going to see more, come see ours, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, that was a big deal. They understood, like, oh, it's been a hot minute since we last had a Star Wars, and these fans are starving for this, and it's going to be a mad dash to the theaters to see it. It builds the hype, the anticipation, and the demand. Disney Plus, these series have been great for us as fans, like getting more content. that we can keep fill in between the gaps, but maybe there needs to be a readjusting of the expectations or of the marketing for it to
Right.
kind of set a different precedent. Like, the Disney XD stuff, as you were talking about the animation stuff, nobody thought, oh, this is my filler for Star Wars in between. It's like, oh, that's for kids, whatever.
You know what's screwed up? The idea that the Disney Plus stuff is filler. Mando season 1 was so damn good.
Right.
That's the problem. The problem is that Mando season 1 was almost a cultural phenomenon itself. I mean, between Jin Darin and Baby Yoda at the time, or now Grogu, the world was captivated with Mando season 1. I think had that been good and not great, I think that would have set an expectation of Disney Plus. Like, oh, okay, this is cool. I like Disney Plus. It's like made for TV movies, but it's it's the stuff I like. It's Star Wars. It's Marvel. It's just TV, except it's on streaming.
Right.
Except it wasn't. Mando was good. Mando season
Right.
1, that set the bar. And
Yeah.
so they were always chasing it.
That's right. If it were the Ewok movies, it'd been like,
right.
okay.
Right.
But you're right. The bar was so much higher, and we had the creatives. You mentioned this fantastically. That the creatives led that. Right. The directors came in and directed episodes, and they maybe put their own kind of flavor into the direction, and they'd have to make. Is with any production, they have to make changes on the fly. But along the way, the story was crafted. It was outlined. It was, thoroughly crafted before they ever sat down to put it on film. Right. So it was a creative led, and that's maybe what's been missing from some of these other projects. You look at Mandalorian, where Favreau was the creative behind it, and this is for my friend Baymax. Right, he took the Paper Moon story and put it into Star Wars. That was his intent from the get-go, and it executed tremendously. And then we get some of these other projects that came in less well received, and now Andor's coming out, creative led. Like, you create your story and go. Yeah.
And that, what, honestly, and that was this part of my biggest problem with Obi-Wan, the show, which is why I actually have Obi-Wan last on my list of live action shows, because I don't feel like creative was pushed on that one. I feel like at one point when they wanted to do an Obi-Wan thing years ago, that was pushed by creative, but I think it got to the point where they just had to do something, and because they promised, and because they had to get content out, and that was already in the motions from years ago. So why not, there was a mandate to get Disney Plus stuff out. They had this Obi-Wan stuff on the shelf that they couldn't crack because they were trying for years to make it a movie. And so they brought it over, and that didn't feel creative. That didn't feel creatively, even though I'm sure everybody, I'm sure everybody involved really did put their heart into it, but it felt, that show felt more corporate than Mando season 1, Andor season 1, Mando season 2.
Well, we know Ian McGregor, right? He was like, this was his thing. He was an executive producer on it, right? He was involved in it, and it was a passion project for him. And, everybody was excited for what they had in their mind, what that show was going to be. And when the show doesn't meet what your expectations are, that's always been something that I brought up to kids when I was teaching, right? I was a middle school social studies teacher, and whenever we would go to watch like a film or something in class, I would try to set the expectation, like, look, this thing was made before you guys were born. So it's going to look weird, right? It's going to have different kind of stuff than you're used to seeing. They're going to be dressed funny. Expect that. And so you kind of set the expectation. When they would then watch it, they could laugh at the stuff that I kind of warned them about, but the expectation was already set. With Obi-Wan, people dreamed big dreams, and then when it came out, when it didn't meet that, you have that cognitive dissonance, which then creates disaffection, right?
Sure.
So that's big words. Look at me using big words.
Look at me understanding your big words. I think that's even more impressive because I'm a dummy.
Hilarious. So anyhow, no, I think my takeaway from this Hollywood Reporter article is that Chapek was not up to the task of navigating the waters of a CEO. He certainly made many employees unhappy. He made creatives unhappy. He made the parks people unhappy. And ultimately the investors unhappy. And when they were made unhappy, see ya, you got to go.
Right.
So again, we get back to Lucasfilm. I don't sense that within the investor group that they're unhappy with Kathleen Kennedy. I don't sense that they're unhappy with Lucasfilm's direction, and I don't expect to see any immediate changes in the leadership at Lucasfilm as a result of this change to Iger.
No, I 100% agree. So here's the thing. You can't fire someone like Kathy Kennedy. You just can't. It would like that. There's certain things in certain industries that you can and can't do. Whether you like her or not. I mean, look, there are people on both sides who think she's doing a good job, and people who think that she doesn't, that still think that it's time for somebody new. Okay, so I think on both sides there are positive people and negative people that feel that way. But when you've amassed a career, and I know people like to argue what her career is, and that's actually technically irrelevant because it doesn't matter what you think her career is. The facts are she's been in this industry forever.
Right.
She is well decorated. She is well liked.
Yes.
So those people who are up here above everybody else, they don't get fired. Okay. She would have to, she would have to do stuff on the business end, not the creative end. She's not the creative end of all this. She's the business end. And yes, Solo lost money. We know that. Okay. But that's not, that.
Well, I want to agree because, look, and again, go back to the sports ball analogies, right? When you've got a Hall of Fame coach,
right,
that's led your team to multiple national championships or championships, whatever the sport ball that you like is, right? They've led you to multiple championships, and they're a Hall of Fame, like a franchise nameplate for your brand. You don't fire them. Even if you've had a couple bad years, you have a discussion and says, how can we move forward? And sometimes they'll take a step into a different role at the company, or they'll, kind of change jobs, or they'll just say, you know what, it's time to retire. I'm going to move on with life and do something different. But it's on their terms. There's a discussion had, but they make the decision.
Right.
And that's where we are with Kathleen Kennedy. She's your sports ball champion.
So I don't know. I don't know if this guy I don't follow college too much. I casually, but I don't, tell me if this is a good example. Urban Meyer. I don't know if was he ever canceled, or is he okay to talk about?
We can talk about him. Go for it.
So I didn't know. I don't know if any college coaches got canceled. All right. So Urban Meyer, right? You know Urban Meyer. I don't know.
I do.
Probably nobody in here knows Urban Meyer, but somebody like him, Ohio State Buckeyes, right? If you, that's a guy that doesn't get fired, right? He's a champion. He's won. He's a name. He's well liked. People in the industry in football like him. You don't fire those guys. So yeah, that's my sports ball analogy for you.
Right. He does have several things in his past, like when he was at Florida, coaching the Gators, NCAA. He got in a little bit of controversy down there, and claimed he had some physical ailments that he needed to retire. That's how he did it, right? He said, "Oh, okay, we're in a little turbulent water. I'm going to retire for my health."
Right.
He comes to Ohio State. He's coaching. He's got this brain thing going on. He's got a tumor in his brain, inoperable, and it's causing him some.
I accidentally ripped my whole thing out, but it's fine. It's still
I saw that. I saw that.
It's mobile now. It's all good.
I going old school, just holding the mic. It's great.
Yep. Nothing to see. Nothing to see, guys.
Yeah, okay. You good, Adam? Is that ready? So yeah, he comes to Ohio State. He's got this brain. There was some problems going on. There's some turbulence going on, and again, he retired. Right? He goes to the NFL. Got in a lot of trouble. He got fired there.
Oh yeah. No, I meant more like I can't keep up sometimes with
Right, but that is a very good example.
So anyway,
right. He was terrible there. And he's a good college coach, and it happens a lot of times. You get promoted to the wrong place, and a lot of people
which is apt here, right?
Yep.
A great career, got promoted to this, seemed fine at first, and I'm not saying I need to choose my words carefully, as you know, Santa. But
right.
It's a very similar situation where I think sometimes when you get put in a position, especially a new position or a higher position, you try to not exert your power, but you try to come in with your own thoughts and ideas, and sometimes it works. Kevin Feige, sometimes it doesn't. Now that doesn't, and it doesn't mean people can't change their thought processes. If you worked in this business for that long, you had to have adapted your thought processes throughout the year. There's no way that making a movie in the 80s was the same as the 70s, 90s as the 80s, 2000s as the 90s. Every decade, every years, you gotta reinvent yourself, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right. Well, you're exactly right.
Iger likes her. I'm sorry, but Iger likes her. I probably shouldn't even say this, but I've been in some all hands meetings over there, and she's well liked, guys.
She is, and when you see like Dave Filoni or Jon Favreau on stage praising her, it comes from a place in their heart. This isn't something they're being told to do. They're not like brown nosing to get a job. It is honest. It is coming from a place of affection. It's absolutely truthful. So a lot of people were saying that she's getting treated that way just because of her position. That's not true. She's loved, and I've talked to folks who have been in board meeting rooms with her as well as just fans. So there's a group of guys that run a podcast over in Great Britain, and they went to a big event. Kathleen Kennedy was on the speakers list for the great big event. I'm not getting into too many specifics on purpose, but they asked if they could get a picture with her. Well, because they ran a Star Wars podcast, blah blah blah. Right? She actually came in after the event and sat in a meeting room. If you've ever gone to like a convention center or stuff, they've got these rooms that aren't really like finished. But a lot of times you use it for staging folks in them. And they would sit in there at a folding table with portable chairs. She came in and sat and talked to them for like over 30 minutes. Just visited, hung out with them. Friendly, personable, lovely person. Mm-hmm. They had a great time. So when people talk about loving her, it's because they do. It's because they do.
Yeah, and good CEOs do those kind of things. I know Kevin Feige does. Or not so much anymore because the man is extremely busy, but he used to, especially early on in phase 1 and phase 2, he used to do a lot of interviews with like smaller outlets, channels and stuff, even like YouTube channels of like smaller communities. He used to do that. I know the YouTube CEO, Susan, last name starts with a W. She's always doing that kind of stuff too, and being out there. What a good CEO does. So I don't know.
So saying that, I also agree. Like at the end of the day, somebody needs to be held accountable for missteps.
Sure.
When they make mistakes and it costs the brand, it costs the franchise, somebody needs held accountable for that.
Yes.
And I think that she, at least on the outside looking in, it looks like she's not always held accountable for some of those things at the level maybe I or somebody else thinks that she should be.
Well, like what? I'm just curious. Do you have an example?
Well, I'll take Solo. That's an easy one, right? That's low hanging fruit. Right?
Well, do you have any more recent ones? Because I feel like Solo has been so long that the company as a whole has moved on from that. I know people online haven't, but I think they've moved on from Solo.
I agree. I think lately it's pet peeve stuff, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody didn't like the Book of Boba Fett, for example, they say she screwed it up, or if somebody didn't like Kenobi, oh, it's Kathleen Kennedy's fault. Mm-hmm. But let me bring up a point. And I was thinking about this a little bit earlier as well. People love to blame her for that stuff. It said, well, they should have replaced her back when Solo failed or when the sequels came out, and blah blah blah, whatever, right? Let me ask this question to the fans who say that. If Kathleen Kennedy wasn't there when the launch of Disney Plus came out, right? They'd already pulled the trigger on her and sent her packing. Who hires Jon Favreau to come in and do The Mandalorian? Who does that? Right? Like, without her hiring him to do that and giving him the green light to build stagecraft, right? That was it came out of his head, out of working with the Jungle Book and working with what's that other one? Big CG. The Lion King, right? He worked on those, and then
Jungle Book you're talking about, right?
Jungle Book and Lion King, right? Live action.
Yeah,
did he do that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was coming out of that he's like, hey, I've got this idea. If we merge these technologies together, I think we could build a thing.
Right.
She greenlit it. He documents that in the behind the scenes thing but from Mando season 1, right? And you can see where she was directly involved in bringing him on board. She was directly involved in greenlighting that technology. And that technology now is something that other people are paying Disney to borrow, right? You want to rent the stagecraft to do a show or a commercial or whatever? You could do that. You could pay Disney or Lucasfilm for that technology. But yeah, that's, who hires, right? She needs to get credit for that. And after that, then what has she done as a major misstep as a CEO or as a chairman of Lucasfilm? What has been her misstep, to your point? What's been her misstep that deserves firing?
None. That deserves firing? None.
Right.
Oh, none. But that doesn't mean she hasn't had missteps. But I think there's Solo was definitely a big misstep, and I think Solo was a misstep because of bringing in Ron Howard.
Too late.
Yeah,
right? You bring him in too late.
Man, I wanted that Lord and Miller Solo movie so bad. I think you can't talk to me about Solo because Solo is one of my most hated movies of all time.
Oh no.
Yeah, it really is.
Even worse than Christopher Lee.
Even worse. No, even worse. Even worse than Last Jedi. Even worse worse than that, because me personally, I'm not a huge Luke Skywalker fan. Okay, if I had to rank my favorite characters from when I was a child growing up, Luke is not in my top 5. So, but that doesn't mean I'm in the majority here. Clearly, I'd obviously there's a lot more people that have Luke Skywalker 1 or 2 on their list. Okay, it's usually like Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan, Darth Vader, and Luke. Those are usually the rotating top three, right? Not for me. Luke isn't in my top five. So when the outrage for Last Jedi came out, that outrage wasn't for me because
Right.
I don't really have that regard.
Right.
Now,
Same. Same here.
Han Solo is like number 2 for me, right?
Oh no.
Han Solo used to be when I was a kid. Han Solo was 1 until I saw Empire Strikes Back, and then Yoda surpassed him. Okay, so but that's the only person that ever surpassed him. So Han Solo was like everything to me, and I could between his name, I will never get over his name. I will rip out more microphones over that. The Kessel Run, no, like
destroy more of your equipment. Yeah,
like it's just there's so much about that movie. So on a fan side, that's the one that hurts the most. And financially, yes, it took a hit. There was a lot of production issues, which is why it helped
there you go.
to lose money, and it was a debacle. But in the 120 years of movies that have been made in this world, sometimes there's a debacle. Okay,
right.
One debacle doesn't get a Lifetime Achievement Award winner producer to get fired. All the other movies made a ton of money. The streaming shows are relatively successful when it comes to whatever metric. Like you and I, Santa, could have a whole separate channel about how messed up streaming metrics are and how you can't even really how do you judge? There's no judgment on it. It's only if Disney is happy with their performances. That's it. That's all that cares. Because we track it this way, who's watching what, and like it's
the same with publishing, right? Like how many books did they sell?
Sure. I don't know.
Try to find that. I
know I have a whole list of them over here. When Force Awakens was coming out, and I'm sure you have your bookshelf is far bigger than mine. But I was buying every book when it first came out, and I couldn't keep up with it. It was too many books. There were too many books. Couldn't keep up with the reading. But yeah, the books. There's it's all encompassing.
It's all hidden behind this big curtain, right? Like what's behind there? Why won't you share with us?
Here's the thing. If in our world today, where nothing is hidden, well, except the firing of Bob Chapek, which was like an emergency meeting, right? Which happened in less than 24 hours. Like it literally happened in less than 24 hours because the board knew the second any whispers started going out that it would have blown up. It would have leaked. Everything leaks. That's today's society. Everything leaks, right?
Let me tell you real quickly. It did, right? I got a DM about it in Discord about maybe less than an hour before it hit the press. Right. Like it did leak. It was coming out. Yeah,
it was coming. So they knew they knew that this was monumental, right? This doesn't get done. CEOs don't get fired. They do, but one of the biggest media companies in the world, your CEO gets fired. That's big news. That's going to happen. It's going to leak out. You're going to know. So they had to do it within 24 hours. There's nothing. There's no smoke. Right. Usually say where there's smoke, there's fire. There's no smoke. There's no smoke.
Right. Hey, I want to change gears a little bit and talk about some things coming up. You good to hang out, or you're gonna fly?
I got 10 more minutes for you. You got me till 1:15.
Okay. So there's this thing came out on Twitter today. Let me zoom in just
Brazil?
A little bit. It is.
Yeah.
Portuguese.
No. So, I meant the Brazil Con. That's CCXP, right? That's in
CCXP. I don't know. But I know the original was in Portuguese because Google tells me so. Translated from Portuguese. But the translation here says it's coming with everything. Disney in a CCXP is coming with everything in CCXP 22. Panels take place on Thursday, December 1st. Lucasfilm will bring news about the 3rd season of The Mandalorian and the 5th film, Indiana Jones. And what more? Noon, I tell you. So today, at noon. Supposedly, we'll get more information. That probably already happened, I'm going to guess. But look for December 1st to be another news cycle here for Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Worth sharing. Worth sharing. I don't know what that will all entail.
My guess, this indie trailer is rapidly coming. I don't, I think right now they're clearing some space with Avatar. Yesterday, today was Avatar stuff. I would be surprised with Thanksgiving coming if they dropped anything. They don't need to.
Well, we know Willow is coming between now and then, as well as Andor's the first 2 episodes getting released this week on those additional channels, right? ABC, FX, so on. So all that's happening. This will be right after Thanksgiving. It'll be the next wave. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Indiana Jones 5 is going to be the big one. That trailer is imminent. That's coming. And in some confirmation of things that are already assumed, like is time travel involved, blah, 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 right?
Well, yeah, well, you saw that they're doing the de-aging for a flashback. So that'll be fun. Harrison Ford was like, I don't understand how they made me young. I can't. Uncanny Valley.
Matt actually means the Book of Indiana Jones series, right? There is supposedly an Indiana Jones series in the work.
Yes.
And we had that before. It didn't go so well.
The Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Oh, right. Did not go so well. So, that's coming. So we may get some more news on that as well. But I expect it to be heavy Indiana Jones. Mandalorian season 3. We get the trailer officially released, I guess.
Teaser, maybe. Probably a teaser. Probably so. like one of those, flashes, glimpses.
Yeah.
Which would be cool. I'm excited, man.
It would be cool. So Andor, episode 12. I do have the poll up. You can put your predictions in. I know, Adam, you started off the season on fire. Way at the top of the list. Like the leaderboard, you had a strong lead. And then
I had a strategy.
You
and
just
my strategy is failing me, Santa.
It is. Every week you just dropped a few points. And now you're off the leaderboard. You got to make a strong comeback to get back on.
Not gonna happen. Here's the thing. What am I, 2 down? Am I 2 down from you? I think
I have to look something like that.
Yeah,
you're really close.
2 or 3 because I had a bad week. You're the man who runs a Star Wars YouTube channel is not gonna lose to me. So it's been fun. It's been real, and I will be looking up and waving at all of you guys from the bottom.
It's a ton of fun to do these, and it just makes for a nice outline to do a recap. Right?
I love it, Santa. I think this is one of the best things you do. Honestly, I'm not even joking. This is one of the best things you do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. It's a ton of fun. And I wanted to point people towards this article that Darth Lunga posted, G.A. Lungaro, right? He posted this article. It's a theory. It's a fan speculation that Luthen Rail might be Rail Avaros, I think it is, right? So this rail, right? Let me increase this so people can read. And this article is worth reading. It's fun and it's really well written. And he did a lot of homework in this. It's really good. It's a nice speculation that Luthen Rail is a Jedi who was doing his own kind of thing and now is back, and the person that he was working with is actually the lady. Let me see if I can do
you buy it? Do you buy the theory?
He makes a really strong argument, but no.
But at the end of the day, I don't think so. Yeah, they got us, man. They got us with that lightsaber where he was like, "Oh, look at this! You don't want to mess with me. I got a fake lightsaber." Well,
so the way that Lunga handles this is to say he took the kyber out of the saber hilt and put a blade in it, like a vibro blade or a knife, kind of in it, and that the kyber is the one that he let Cassian have on the necklace, It's blue kyber.
Sure.
The Jedi's lightsaber was blue, and that it's hiding in plain sight, but it's not a lightsaber hilt anymore. It's just a hidden knife. Again, Lunga did a great job on this article. It's in the description here. You can find the link to it. And
do you think? Have they said the word force yet in this show? I don't think so, right?
No.
Do you think we're going to get the word force next week?
Nope.
Or tomorrow, I should say.
Definitely not. Nope. Not happening. Not. It's not happening. It's just not part of the show. So, yeah. So, in any event, it's a really well written article. It's really well researched, and the theory is very strong. Much like Darth Jar Jar, it can't be disproved entirely until it's entirely disproved. But in content. So I think he makes a strong argument here that's worth checking out. And then I've got this Patreon question. I wanted to get to it real quick before you had to go.
Okay.
Because Richard Todd asked, outside of Star Wars franchise, what other franchise do you love? As for him, he's a James Bond fan. I am a big fan of Harry Potter. And that happened primarily because my oldest daughter loved it, and I got involved with it with her. And I love Harry Potter. I've read the books in their original English version, as well as the U.S. English version, and the movies, of course. But Harry Potter is high on the list. As a kid, I was a big Superman fan, comics. So I'm a huge Superman fan. And during the dark period, where there was no Star Wars content, Star Trek filled the void. The original series of Star Trek and the Next Generation Star Trek. Those were my go-tos. Adam, where are you on it? Other franchises.
So Harry Potter would be an honorable mention, especially in my household, because that if you ask my wife, that's her number one, is Harry Potter, and my kids are very much into Harry Potter right now, especially after Halloween. So honorable mention there. For me, Ninja Turtles. I love Ninja Turtles. I can't wait for the new animated movie that's coming out. I can't wait for the whatever eventual live action reboot we're gonna get down the road. I can't get enough of.
So as Santa, whenever a kid comes and tells me they love Ninja Turtles, I always have to ask, which is your favorite Ninja Turtle?
It's tough. It's tough. Honestly, I'm not even trying to be that. But if I had to pick one, which I'm sure you're gonna do, it would be Leonardo. I think is
Leonardo.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. I just make up a name on the fly whenever I ask the question, because if they ask me, I'll just say, "Oh, Donatello." I don't know. I just make up a name. Good one. I'm not a huge Ninja Turtle fan, but I know their names, so just go with one. So you're big into Ninja Turtle. What else?
Marvel for sure. If I had to narrow it down, though, it's definitely X-Men. I love the X-Men. I also love. I saw it in the chat. I don't know if this counts because it's not like super nerdy, but Back to the Future. I love it.
Love it. Very good. Very good.
Those are my jams.
Have you seen the movies that made us episode on the Back to the Future?
Oh yeah, fascinating.
It really is.
Like I knew there was a lot of issues. I didn't know all that though. And
Marty's dad was that actor. I can't remember his name, but
Crispin Glover.
Little strange.
A little strange. That's a nice thing, Santa. That is, you are being kind, sir.
Yes, I encourage you guys to go watch that because Crispin Glover. He wouldn't go in that door. Well, he's going to go in the door. What? Because I said.
Right. For any of you who are Back to the Future fans, if you remember Biff, Tom Wilson, the actor, I don't know, just search YouTube, Tom Wilson questions song, something to that effect. He's a stand-up comedian as well, and part of his act, he created this musical comedy song of people asking him questions about Back to the Future. And it's very funny. So if you're a big Back to the Future fan, go search that out. I think you'll get a kick for 5 minutes.
I agree. And Meg, you actually share something in common with my wife. My wife is a huge Winnie the Pooh fan. Like that's her kind of jam. That's where she goes to. My oldest daughter is a big fan of Eeyore. Like Eeyore is like her spirit animal. You know.
Yeah, we have a couple of Eeyores around the house too. Yeah, my wife's a big Eeyore person.
So yeah, that's great. That's great. Well, Adam, thank you so much for dropping in, my friend. I've said this before. My channel is largely influenced by watching this guy's channel back in the day, like hanging out with friends in the morning, talking about whatever. Was great. It was a great way to start my day. And I was like, I want my show to be like Adam's show. Like I like that dude. So
well, you're already doing better because people watch your show. So step in the right direction there.
Oh, so good. Well, Adam, thanks for hanging out. It's been wonderful visiting with you. And I look forward to visiting with your kids again in a few weeks.
For sure.
And it'll be great.
All right.
You guys, thanks for hanging out with me today. It's been wonderful just to kind of talk about some Star Wars stuff, talk about the things we love, and I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, Adam, to you and your family.
You too. Thanks,
let them
guys.
know Santa said Happy Thanksgiving to your kids, and I can't wait to talk to them.
We'll see you
soon. Get their lists ready. Okay, we'll see you, Adam. All right, you guys, thanks for being here today. I can't wait to talk to you again. You guys take care, and till next time, my friends. Merry Christmas, and may the Force be with you always. Bye-bye.
Hot dang! Talking through the news from a galaxy far away. Toys and book reviews, positivity all the way. Come and join the fun, subscribe and like away. Movie news and show reviews, it's like Christmas every day. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa Show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa Show. Oh, Star Wars Santa, Star Wars Santa, the Star Wars Santa Show. Oh, what fun it is to chat on the Star Wars Santa Show. Ho, 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 ho. Hot dang, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat tonight on the Star Wars Santa Show. He can feel your presence. So join the chat, loosen up and have some fun with Star Wars Santa. I see it.
Oh, I was muted. Thanks, Matt. I muted myself just to make sure I didn't step on it. You guys, make sure you follow Mike Porter on Twitter. He's the man. Mike Porter is the man. He promotes all of us. And his dad joke of the day, what was the Evil Empire's classic song from pop singer Smokey Robinson? Oh, Smokey Robinson. Tears of a Clone. Oh, thank you, Mike Porter. Thank you all for hanging out for the post-credit scene. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.